If you're new to Blender, master these exercises and you master Blender. This first one is a cloth simulation that teaches you how to create cloth and also how to simulate it with physics. Character animation looks better with cloth physics, so let's add that to this character. All you have to do is select the parts that you want to have cloth simulation, and this is going to be the pants, and subdivide them a little bit more so that the simulation has more geometry to work with. I'm going to invert the selection using Ctrl I. I'm going to save the parts that I don't want to be part of the simulation into a vertex group called pin. Add a cloth system and use the pin group we created in the shape settings to make sure that those parts are not part of the simulation. When I play back, you can see that the cloth simulation is working perfectly, but there are no legs to collide with the pants. Go back to edit mode, duplicate the pants into a different object and use Alt S in edit mode to shrink the pants, and these will become the legs. Since they are part of the original mesh, they will still have the deformation and animation with them. So now all I have to do is remove them from the cloth system and add a collision system to them, and now there will be the collider geometry underneath the pants. We can also add some physics to the hair so that it bounces a bit. First, separate it from the original geometry. Since it already has the cloth system, just remove the parts that we want to move from the original pin group. Add internal strings and pressure to make sure that while the hair bounces, it retains its shape. When it comes to lighting, you're not only limited to the lights that come in the light object collections. Mesh lights are one of the most underrated lighting setups that are available in Blender. This is just any mesh with an emission shader. When you mix these with textures, like say a gradient texture, you can create some interesting lights. Since meshes can be any shapes, you can couple these with textures or modifiers and create some of the most interesting light setups that are not possible with ordinary lights you get. And when you limit the effects of these lights to just reflections and transmission, you can create interesting reflections without adding extra light into your setup. So these lights can be anywhere in your scene, just providing extra reflections in your scenes. You will see a lot of mesh lighting setups used in advertising, product rendering, especially in car photography. If you want to see more examples of mesh lighting, you can check out the Light Wrangler add-on. It comes with a lot of mesh lights, light gobos and other textures that can improve your lights. To create interesting light, you have to have interesting shadows, and light gobos are a great way to achieve that. A light gobo can be a texture, but if you don't have that, you can use the noise texture, use it in a transparency shader, and you can add a color ramp to add contrast so that you have areas of transparency and opaque areas. You can use this surface to block light so that you can create interesting shadows to make your renders look more interesting. The transparency shader sometimes can be slow, especially if your light gobo is going to cover a large scene. And they don't work really well in Eevee. But you can still create the same setup using geometry nodes. Just add a lot of subdivisions to your plane, and in geometry nodes, add a noise texture, a color ramp, and a delete node. And this will allow you to control which parts of the mesh you delete. To make your shadows more interesting, you can animate the noise so that you have clouds moving in your scene without adding any clouds, but just animating the noise texture. This technique is fast and can be used to create good rays if you add a volumetric box. If you want more interesting light gobos, you can try the Light Gobo add-on that comes with a lot of light gobos that are already animated. Every time you want to add life in your scene, think of the Boyd's particle system. This can allow you to animate birds, insects, or even butterfly. Let me show you a quick setup. If you drag an image into Blender and right-click to convert it to a mesh, this will turn that image into a plane with the image on it. Now, I'm just going to split it in the middle and animate this mesh like a butterfly flapping its wing up and down using the shape keys. Now I can create a particle system, go to the physics tab, change the physics to the Boyd's system, which will create a system that animates these particles like they were birds, insects, or animals. Now I can select my butterfly to be the render object, and that will turn the particles into butterflies. If I want to improve the animation, I can create multiple butterflies with the animations offset so that the flapping is not uniform. Set them as a collection, which I will use in the particle system. You can also randomize their colors in the material editor. This is the concept behind GeoSwarm, though they have a larger collection of animals with better animations and better behaviors. This last exercise should teach you about thinking of ways to execute a project without spending too much time. So in this project, we are going to animate a snake without creating any complicated rigs. I have a snake here that is not animated, and I want to quickly make it crawl around the ground in a predetermined path. You can use the wave modifier to create a wavy motion quite easily. Just limit the wave to one axis and that will give you the snake behavior we are looking for. Make sure that the size of the snake is limited to 1 meter. That way it's easier to adjust the parameters of your wave modifier. With that complete, let's create a path that our snake is going to take. Just draw a curve for the path you want, select the snake and then the path, and use Ctrl P, select follow path. That way the snake can follow that path. This bit can be a little bit complicated since you have to get the right axis for the snake to follow that path correctly. There are many tutorials that can show you how to correctly create a follow path relationship between objects, and I recommend you go on YouTube and search for that to complete this exercise. When you get the correct rotation and position of the snake onto your path, you'll get this animation quite easily. The purpose of these exercises is to highlight some of the things you need to learn to make your Blender journey quite successful. So that's it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.